Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the official page of Read My Course. I am Dr. Shatabdi and we were studying Cell the Unit of Life. Today we are going to proceed further in our second class. So let's have a look at the topic overview. We were studying about the cell which is in the unit 3 of the NCERT class 11 book. We had studied a little about the eukaryotic cells, the prokaryotic cells, the different structures within a cell, etc. So let's see what topics we are going to cover today. First of all, we will have a look at the size and the shape of the cells. Then we will have a look at the different types of bacteria, that is the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria. Followed by this, we will have a look at the cell envelope and its modifications which are found in a prokaryotic cell, more specifically a bacterial cell. Then we will read about the appendages of a bacteria, for example, the flagella, the pili, the fimbriae, etc. And lastly, we will move on to the ribosomes and the inclusion bodies. So let's start. First of all, let's learn about the morphological variations which are found in a cell. We already know that cells vary in size and in shape. In the last class, we had studied that they vary greatly in their size. Eukaryotes were larger in size, whereas prokaryotic cells were much smaller in size. Now, you can ask me a question that what does the shape of these cells depend upon? The shape of these cells basically depends upon the functionality of the cells. For example, in eukaryotic cells, if we are talking about a red blood cell, then it is biconcave in shape. Why it is biconcave in shape? So that it can perform its function of oxygenation and removing carbon dioxide from the body. Okay, next we have the white blood cells. The white blood cells are irregular shaped. Then we have the epithelial cells. The surface epithelial cells are the skin cells basically. They have tall columnar shapes. Then we move on to the nerve cells in the body. They are regarded to be the longest cells. The nerve cells. Remember this, the nerve cells are the longest cells. Okay, then different type of these cells have different shapes, and mainly these shapes depends on the function that they are performing within the cell. So next we move on to the next slide. Now comes the different types of bacteria. A person called Christian Gram had postulated, or he had proposed a technique which is known as Gram staining. This Gram staining is basically a technique which differentiates two types of bacteria, gram positive and gram negative. Depending on what? Depending on the cell structure. Depending on the cell structure. Okay. So how? For example, look at this picture over here. The gram positive bacteria, they are taking up a violet color, and the gram negative bacteria have taken up a red color. Why is it so? Because in the gram positive bacteria, the stain has been able to enter into the bacterial cell, whereas in the gram negative bacteria, the gram stain has not been able to be absorbed inside the cell. That is why there is this difference in the staining procedure. Now you can ask me that why is it that the gram positive bacteria takes up this stain, whereas the gram negative bacteria does not take up the gram stain? To understand this, we have to know what is the composition of the cell wall of the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria. In the gram positive bacteria, we find a layer which is the peptidoglycan layer. This peptidoglycan layer is the outermost layer in case of a gram positive bacteria, and in case of a gram negative bacteria, as we can see, the outermost layer is made up of a polysaccharide layer. This polysaccharide layer makes this gram negative bacteria totally impermeable. It is impermeable to the stains, whereas in case of gram positive bacteria, because of this presence of this peptidoglycan layer outside, it is able to absorb the stain, and therefore its color changes to violet when we are noticing it under a microscope. Another important thing that we should know over here is that in case of gram negative bacteria, they are more antibiotic resistant. This is also based on the same feature that the gram-negative bacteria does not allow the most of the antibiotics to get absorbed inside them, and that is why they are considered to be relatively resistant to most of the antibiotics. Now moving on to the next slide. What is cell envelope? Cell envelope is the outermost covering which is present in case of bacteria. In case of bacteria, it consists of three parts as I have highlighted over here. One is the glycocalyx, which is the outermost coat. Then we have the cell membrane, and last we have the plasma membrane. So outermost glycocalyx, cell membrane, and then we have the plasma membrane. But this whole thing acts as a single unit, as a single protective unit. Now, so this glycocalyx layer is basically of two types. One is the capsulate type and the other is the slime layer type. The capsule is much tougher than the slime, as we can already understand. So if we notice the picture below, this blue colored structure outside which we are noticing in this bacterial wall is the capsule basically, okay? It is the capsule which provides hardness to the surface of the structure and acts as a mechanical support to the bacteria. So what is the function of this cell wall in bacteria? Cell wall basically determines the shape of the bacteria and provides support. What is the function of the cell membrane? Then this cell membrane has a special feature. It is semi-permeable, or we can say more specifically, it is selectively permeable to some substances and not selectively permeable to the other. That means what? That means it allows the inward and outward transition or movement of certain substances into and outside of the cells. That is the most important feature of the cell membrane. Now moving on to the next slide, what are the modifications of the cell envelope? See, as we can notice in this picture which I have shown, this is the picture of a bacterial cell, and this structure over here, this is a mesosome. So what is a mesosome? A mesosome is a modification of the cell envelope, or we can say it is an infolding of the cell envelope which moves inwards from the outer surface inwards, and it has various structures. For example, it can be in the form of a vesicle, it can be in the form of a tubule, it can be in the form of a lamella. So these mesosomes are of three types. One is vesicles, the other is tubules, and the other is lamella. These are the various morphological shapes which a mesosome or a cell envelope can take in case of a bacteria. Now comes what is the main function of this mesosomes. Mesosomes perform the function of cell wall formation. They help in DNA replication, that is genetic replication, and also they help in the distribution or replication of the daughter cells. So these are some important functions which are performed by the mesosomes. Another important thing is that in other certain kind of bacteria which are known as cyanobacteria, we have certain chromatophores or coloring pigments, okay? Coloring pigments, these are the chromatophores which are present in the cyanobacteria. Moving on to the next slide, we come to the motility of bacteria. Motility means what? It means movement of bacteria. So we move with the help of our legs. So how does a bacteria move? Do they have legs? No, they don't have legs, but they have a thing which is known as flagella. What is this flagella? Let me explain. See, you see this bacteria over here. This thing, this rod-like structure which is extending outside is the flagella. This flagella helps in propulsive movement. That is what? It moves and it helps in the forward movement of the bacteria. This flagella is further composed of three parts. The first is the filament, then we have the hook, and the last is the basal body. If we look at the other picture, we will see that this green colored structure over here is the filament. The filament in the flagella consists of the maximum part of the body of the flagella, and it is made up of flagellin, which is a protein. So flagella has three parts. What are they? One is the filament, one is the hook, and the other is the basal body. Most important part is the filament, which consists of a flagellin protein. Okay, and the main function of this is movement. Moving on to the next slide, we have other surface appendages, as we call them, besides the flagella, which help not in movement, but they have certain other functions we will discuss. So they are the pili and the fimbriae. So let's have a look at the picture. In the picture, we are seeing this flagellum. We know what a flagella is. Okay. Now, let's move to pili and fimbriae. I would like you to see the picture which is under a microscope. This particular picture. This particular picture shows that the brush-like structures extending from the outer surface of this bacteria are the fimbriae, whereas the rod-like structure extending from the bacteria, that is the pilus. And flagella is already, we have studied what is a flagella. Now you can ask me, so what is the function of this fimbriae and this pilus? Basically, they help in the attachment of the bacteria to hard surfaces as well as to host tissues. They help in attachment. So though they look similar to the flagella, but they are different in function. Let's move on to the next slide. We have ribosomes. So we already know from the first class that ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis. Now, one thing we need to know is that ribosomes are made up of two units. One is a larger subunit and the other is a smaller subunit. In case of bacteria, the larger subunit is a 50S unit. It's a 50S unit. Whereas the smaller subunit is a 30S subunit. So this 50S and 30S subunits which are present in the prokaryotic ribosome form a 70S ribosome. So how is it different from a eukaryotic ribosome? A eukaryotic ribosome is usually 80S. So just remember, in case of prokaryotes, the ribosome is a 70S ribosome consisting of two units, 50S, 30S. In case of eukaryotes, it is a 80S ribosome consisting of again two units, 60S and 40S. And next we will learn what are polysomes. These polysomes are actually aggregates of these ribosomes arranged in a linear fashion when they are actively translating mRNA into protein. We will study about these in detail when we are studying the eukaryotic cells and their functions. So no need to worry about it. Just remember this much for the time being. And moving on to the next slide. So here I have tried to show you what is the main difference between a prokaryotic ribosome and a eukaryotic ribosome. See, in a prokaryotic ribosome, we have two units. I have already discussed, 50 and 30, total 70. In eukaryotic ribosome, we have two subunits again, 60, 40. Together it's 80. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. We have inclusion bodies. Inclusion bodies are nothing but reserved materials in the prokaryotic cells are stored in certain structures. These certain structures are known as inclusion bodies. They are mainly found scattered in the cytoplasm of a bacterial cell, not bound by any membrane. For example, we have phosphate granules, we have cyanophagean granules, we have glycogen granules, etc. Remember one thing, in case of certain photosynthetic bacteria, for example, the blue, green, purple and these type of photosynthetic bacteria, we have gas vacuoles. We have an important structure which is the gas vacuoles. Moving on to the next slide. So I want you to know this, that as we have discussed, the DNA, that is the genetic material, is present within the nucleus of the cell. We have already discussed this. But in case of bacteria, besides the bacterial DNA, there is another extra chromosomal DNA which is present scattered in the cytoplasm. That is known as the plasmid. Okay, that is known as the plasmid. So what is plasmid? It is the extra chromosomal DNA which is present in certain bacteria. And what is their function? They are mainly responsible for providing the bacteria with certain features, for example, bacterial resistance. So that's all for today. We will meet again in the next class where we will be continuing about the cell. We will learn more in details about the cell organelles which are found in a eukaryotic cell. We will discuss their structural organizations individually and we will discuss their functions. Till then, thank you. Let's meet again in our next class.